Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lemorack, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm doing a new career mode. It's happening. I got back into the game thanks to the project in education that I was doing. You can check that out. I made a video about it, and I also wrote I wrote a blog post on it on my website, lemorack.com. Video link and the link to the other one is in the description. You can check them out. Anyway, it got me back into the game, and I was thinking to myself that if I'm going to start a new Kerbal Space Program career, then I'm going to have to kick it up a notch just to keep myself interested. Obviously, this primarily involves a lot of mods, and it secondarily involves difficulty. So let's start with the latter. Let me show you my difficulty settings that I got going here. You'll notice, first of all, that reverting, quick loading have been turned off. Missing crews do not respawn. Everything is go for launch now, which means that there's no, turning back time. If I mess up, I got to get this stuff right, which probably means I'm gonna need to do test flights. I'm gonna have to do that kind of stuff. I have been having to do that already, and it's been a pain. I can tell you that much. We've got other launch sites are allowed, stock vessels are off, indestructible facilities are off, crew members auto hire are off, and then you'll notice that my rewards have been almost halved, doubled the penalties, which means that I just got to be very good about this. We've got negative funds enabled, Kerbal G-force limits enabled, which means that Kerbals will lose consciousness if they fall too fast. Resource transfer, all that jazz, everything here is pretty much, I think, normal for when I hit the hard button. Then we've got a couple of mods that have settings too. We've got a toolbar control system. We've got the planetary base system for when we start colonizing planets. Mission controller is a new set of contracts. So the contracts get varied up a little bit. Colonization, I believe this is a setting for the life support system that I got, which is one of the big new mods that I'm using, which is going to add a whole new level of difficulty to the game. I can't just leave Kerbals up in cans floating in space for decades upon decades. I'm going to have to resupply every space station that I make. I'm going to have to resupply them or somehow make sure that they remain self-sufficient. So that should be fun. FMRS, I believe this is some sort of guidance assistance system. Yeah, this was a recommended mod that the mod installer told me to download for. I believe it was the Kerbal reusability mod, possibly. Can't quite remember. Anyway, there's a lot of mods that I'm not sure how to use, including MechJeb. I've heard a lot about that one, but I've never actually used it. So that's going to be fun when I finally start learning how that one works. Another thing that I did, by the way, just because I'm not, having to go through the initial drag, the initial grind, was extremely off-putting. In the starting settings, I started myself off with a bunch of science and money. So I unlocked all of the techs on what I consider the first tier, right? These are all the techs you can unlock before you get your first science facility upgrade. And I also spent a bunch of money upgrading the vehicle assembly building, the spaceplane hangar, the launch pad and runway, and I believe mission control, so I can take on a bunch of contracts at once. So I don't have to worry about part limits and that kind of thing, and vessel weight, at least for a while. So my current goal, what I'm going to be working towards, is upgrading the R&D facility. It's going to cost a lot of money, as you can see. So in order to help with that, I've initiated a fundraising campaign. It'll convert reputation, turn it into money. That should help us out a little bit. Reputation, I don't think, is really good for anything else anyway. At least, I think it influences the types of missions you can get, possibly, but we'll be fine for now. I'm going to have, for the focus of this career mode, we're going to is going to be making money for the most part, right? We're going to have to try and make this career mode profitable. So that means there's going to be a lot of colonization and infrastructure construction focus here, but also I'm going to start seriously focusing on tourism. Space tourism is a popular topic nowadays. Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and the likes. So we're going to be working on that. We got a couple of wealthy tourists who I have set onto the moon ball. I'd like to fly the moon ball, please. Got 2 tourists who want to go orbit the moon. You're hearing the voices of Chatterer, by the way. That's another mod that I've downloaded. Got Podball and Patball. Space tourists. I mean, let's call them what they are. They are astronauts. You can't see it right now, but we've got a Making History, Kerbal Ball module. I can't remember what they're called. The 3-person, 3-crew space pod. Jebediah is going to be their tour guide. And today we're going to fly to the moon. Let's see if my contraption works. I've already flown to the moon in a very similar spaceship, the same launch vehicle, but a different pod at the top. So let's see how it goes. I am very excited. Stability assistance is on. Fuel view is on. Thrust is at max. Staging, I checked this back in the launch facility, but let's do it one more time. The abort action group has been set if anything should go wrong. Remember, no reverting. This goes down, things start to go south, then I'm going to have to be ready for it. And this is basically going to, this ship costs 30,000 credits, 32,000 credits. I should be getting double that because that's the exact amount that I get from each of these guys. So I'm going to double the money that I get from this. Let's go. Alright. I'm going to try and decrease fuel consumption in the central fuselage. We are gaining speed pretty well. Maybe a little too well. I might even just disable thrust altogether. There we go. Alright, I'm going to start gravity turning now. Very gently. Still in the stage of our technological advancement where we're using solid fuel boosters. For now, anyway. Alright, switching to full thrust. Ditching the solid fuel boosters. Hopefully they don't hit anything important down there. Alright. Now... got Chatterer. Those suspiciously look like they're heading down for KSC. I've returned home to Kerbal Space Center at one point with a, to a destroyed launch pad because apparently one of the boosters that I dropped ended up falling back down there. That was a... yeah, that sucked. Okay. So the apoapsis height has reached 70,000. You can see it up there in the Kerbal Engineer, which means we're good on that front. I'm going to push it all the way up to 85 before I switch the engines off. Alright. I like Chatterer. I think it's really cool. Adds like that tiny little bit of atmosphere to the game with Kerbal stalking it. Also, I've used it in the default mode, not in this career yet, but as soon as I unlock the ability to go on spacewalks, then you'll hear another little cool bit about Chatterer that I really like. Alright. Should be hitting the atmosphere. There we go. We are now in space. As soon as we get close to our apoapse, I'm going to orient us for orbital insertion. There we go. I'm going to deploy the fairing early. It's because we need to start recharging the electricity. I hadn't put any batteries on there. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Also hoping now, that life support isn't going to be a problem. Our tourists are getting their first view of space. It's time that I turn the engines on. Got us into orbit. Delta V should be enough. How's our flight path looking? Pretty good. Pretty good. Switch to stage view, I think, here. Yeah, there we go. Might end up having to use a little bit of the insertion engine's fuel to finish this, but, you know, better late than never. Magic number we're looking for here is 2300. Perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Couldn't have done it better if I planned it. Okay, so let's let our tourists enjoy their view. Padball, what do you see? Wow. 30,000 credits, and this is his view of space. Is that a window? That is not a window. That is a window. This is probably very underwhelming for them, so let's, which window is that? That is the... ball faces up like that, so it's a downward facing window. You know what? I'm very confused. Could be that one. Don't see any windows that are pointing downwards. Can we get back inside for a second? We got one window over there. Where are the other windows? There are two more lights there. Maybe if I switch to a different view of a different tourist. Yeah, there we go. So, okay, I get it now. 1, 2, and that's the upward facing one. Alright. So, see if we can't give these tourists a nice view of Kerbin for their money. They're going to be out here for a while anyway. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, then you should be able to see the moon through. Passing behind the planet out of comms range. Can't see the moon. Can't quite see it. Moving along this the line of the galaxy is a good guideline, because both Kerbin and the moon should be along that axis somewhere. Oh, sun's shining in through the other one. There we go. There's Kerbin. We're on the dark side right now, so they're not exactly seeing a lot of, you know, pretty sights or anything. But if I turn over to the side where the sun is shining on, almost there. There we go. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. That's fine. Spun us around to the other side. There we are. Now that's a $30,000 view. Sort of. It'll be prettier when the sun comes up. Alright, enough fooling around. Let's start working on our moon flight. Okay, now this is going to be a bit tough because I don't have flight planning, so I'm just going to have to kind of fly this by gut. How's everything else looking? We're losing electric charge as we go behind the dark side of the planet. There we go. Goes back up. And we're coming close. Let's see. Not yet. Oh, there we go. That looks about right. So now, let's flip over to the prograde direction. There we go. Now comes the part that the tourists paid their money for. Use this one a bit. There goes the fuel. Drop it. Let's let us drift away a bit here. And then activate the next stage. Boop. Alright. I think another fuel tank might have been needed there. We'll see. Getting into orbit and then getting back out of it might be a bit tricky. But I mean, we're astronauts. We'll solve this. We are Kerbals. Nothing is impossible. We live in a world where submarines can fly. Alright. That looks about right. Should be an encounter along that path somewhere. Now let's just hope that we don't crash. Because this is ever so slightly dangerous. And I don't exactly have... I'm not quite prepared for what happens if we end up crashing. Let's turn that off. Don't want to see that. Let's actually turn the probes off too. I'm not carrying a lot of science equipment with me. I probably should, but I don't really need any, so, you know. Gathering science is going to be a problem for later. Right now, we're trying to run a business here. Alright, come on, give me an encounter. Give me an encounter. There we go. Okay, we definitely did not crash, so that's good. Now let's see if we can somehow manage to... Should also probably extend these antennas. I said extend these antennas. There we go. Oh, jeez. There. Didn't really need to extend that second one, but I did it anyway. So sue me. Okay. Got one of the windows pointed towards the moon, so Kerbals can look out. Tourists get to see what they paid for. There's the up window, by the way. So I get how these work now. Alright, there we go. Now we've got orbit. I'm not sure how far down I want to take them. You know, this is probably good enough. They didn't pay me to take them close to the moon. They paid me to put them in orbit, and we are in orbit. So now our flight path is going to take us around. There we go. And I think as far as let's take another look at what the tourists can see. I'm actually not looking from the tourist's point of view. Let's look at Podball's view. What do you see? He doesn't see anything. Why is my ship not moving? Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, no, this is good. This is good. I missed it. I missed it. Well, this is their view of the moon. It's a closer view of the moon than most people will ever afford in their lives. Even the Kerbal world apparently has its millionaires. Alright. Just realized that I can do that. So let's do it. And let's go. Let's head back to Kerbin. Here's a bit I haven't tested yet. I don't know if the parachutes are strong enough to stop this. It should get me back. Should easily get me back, actually, into Kerbin's sphere of influence. Oh, wow. That's a bit of a problem. So we're going to have to slow down here. Really missed the flight pathing. I might actually want to upgrade my tracking station before I upgrade my R&D facility. All right, we're not going on a solar orbit just yet, apparently. So that's good. I think we might as well just go ahead and plot re-entry at this point. This has been a 3-day journey so far. About to go into its 4th day. Remember, Kerbal days are 6 hours long. Actually, I also want to... Yeah, let's turn those off. Those are bugging me. Let's hope the moon doesn't get in the way. If it doesn't, then this... There we go. 35,000 is the altitude I like to drop down at. So now, yep, there goes the moon. Well, out of our problems. Can you imagine spending like almost 6 days now crammed in this little ball? Ugh. Trip to the ISS takes 3 days, doesn't it? Soyuz crafts are not much bigger than that. It's got to be the most boring 3 days. The most boring and the most exciting 3 days simultaneously. Because you're in space, but you're sitting in space. Oh, and of course we're landing on the dark part. Makes sense. Alright. Flip her over to retrograde. Retract the antennas. Alright, Kerbal HQ is guiding the pilots through the re-entry process. One thing, we're going to want to slow us down as much as we can. There we go. As you can see, I actually had a little retro package on the back here, just in case. So we'll burn through that fuel too, if we don't overheat, of course, which we very likely might. No, overheat bars have not popped up yet, so we're doing good. $34,000. There we go. We're in the upper atmosphere. And I'm going to jettison the retro package now. There we go. Re-entry module is now detached. There really are only 3 windows of this craft. Apparently then, this is the up part of it, which is a bit weird. Why wouldn't they be sitting in this part instead of it? Oh well. Alright, so we survived the burn, that's good. Now, I think we can activate the drogue chutes. Cool thing is now I can hit the space bar here and yeah, there we go, that'll deploy automatically. It won't like try to deploy here and just burn up immediately. That used to be a pain when you would hit the space bar when the parachute was still not safe to use. Oh man, that was terrible. So, here's my quandary. I managed to land a like I can't remember what it's called, like the Gemini-sized space capsule with one of these Mark 16 parachutes. And I also managed to land the two-person ball, but this is heavier. This is heavier than the Gemini craft is with the 3 people in it. So I'm hoping that just adding those 2 drogue chutes will slow it down enough to, save it. If not, we're landing on water. So it's a bit better than landing on dry land. It's a bit softer. See how well those 2 extra drogue chutes help. Yeah, speed this up. Drogue should deploy now. There we go. All right, down to 30 meters per second. And the main chute should go fully deployed. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Come on, get me. Oh dear. 8 meters per second. That's, yeah, that's not too good. It would really suck if I ended up going through all that and then losing the crew down here. And maybe I should have kept the retro package attached. Maybe that would have survived. I could have used that to slow us down. Well, here goes nothing. There's not much else to do. I mean, they're coming down pretty slow, right? This should be fine landing on water. 8 meters per second. Yeah, they'll be fine. I don't know why I'm worried. Worrying over nothing. Yeah, see? It's fine. It's totally fine. Alright. Let's take a look at the debrief. Make sure everything went according to plan. And yeah, we have doubled the amount of money that we spent on the spacecraft, so that's good. We got some science back. Not that we really care about science at this point. We got back 3,000 funds, which is okay, I suppose. And we got some crew experience. You're not ready for next assignment, you're going home. But congrats on your level 1, I guess. Now, excuse me while I sneeze. There we go. Done with that. So, fly by the moon, 4,000 credits. 2 of those. Orbit the moon, 4,000 credits. Recent accomplishments, splashed into the ocean. That's an achievement. Okay. 23 for one of them, 23 for the other one. And then we finished the whole thing, got some reputation, and got some cash. And in the end, we started out at 300,000. We are now at 350,000. So, I suppose that's, baby steps. We're aiming for 900 to get this fixed, to get this upgraded. 300,000 to upgrade this one. So this is going to take a while, and I'm probably going to do most of it off screen. But now you get the idea of what we're working on here. In the next mission, I think I'm going to get to building I'm going to start building the Kerbal Space Station. We have a contract for that one. It is right here. So we're going to be building a orbital station around Kerbal. That's going to be necessary for most of our future missions anyway. And we're also going to have to start building an orbital station around the moon. Also important for future, tourist missions. Tourism is probably where we're going to get most of our money from in general. So it would be nice if I had an infrastructure set up for that. For now, though, I'm going to leave you with the premise that we're going to be building a new orbital station around Kerbal next time. And I will see you then. So long.